Welcome to a new series in which we aim to answer one very simple question. Should I watch whatever show it is that we're talking about on this episode? The premise of Westworld is fascinating. It is I like to describe it as a combo between The Truman Show and Battlestar Galactica, although a little bit more on the Caprica end of the spectrum. Westworld's premise is around this theme park that exists in somewhere between virtual and real, so I suppose mixed reality, and it takes place in the future. And you can attend this theme park and pay an exorbitant amount of money to do so in order to be able to just kind of run wild. Westworld is a place where the days just kind of repeat. It's got a Groundhog Day feel because the attendees aren't all human. There are most in fact, of the inhabitants of Westworld are what's called hosts, and these are AI-driven hosts in the human world that we can do anything we want to. And the show kind of tackles the implications on our minds and our psyches, and more importantly, the implications on the minds and psyches of those minds and psyches that are being wiped constantly just about every single day. So if you're an attendee in Westworld, you're going to have a good time. You can do just about anything you want, and this is an HBO show, so you can imagine where the line gets drawn, if at all. The catch is, because these are hosts and they're AIs and their minds get wiped at the end of every night, it doesn't really matter. They get repaired, and what you're doing to presumably an inanimate object. But that's the question the show is asking you. Are these things still inanimate objects if we have gone so far so as to give them consciousnesses, to give them the ability to create memories? And what starts to happen when those consciousnesses start to get away from us a little bit? Now, like I said, I'm only 4 episodes in, but so far I am positively blown away by this show. Having just come off of Battlestar Galactica, I had never seen Battlestar Galactica before until this year. My wife showed it to me over the last few months, and I had a fan-freaking-tastic time consuming that show. It really got to the point where that Portlandia sketch happens to you in real life, and you can't stop thinking about anything except for what's happening on the Battlestar Galactica. And Westworld has bits of that, because the experience of coming to grips with what's happening to these AIs is a really, really tough experience for you. And because it's an HBO show, they really make you face it head on. Westworld as a theme park is based around the Wild West, and as you get there, as you arrive, you're given an entire wardrobe to pick. You can pick your weapons, etc. It's got a very strong MMO or open world game feel, which I think is fascinating. We're getting to a point where the narratives in video games and the narratives in high profile, high budget shows on channels like HBO have a lot more in common than we realize. So it's definitely got this really strong Red Dead Redemption feel, with the added bonus of it being futuristic and sci-fi. And that's where the Battlestar Galactica stuff starts to come in. The feel that they've achieved with Westworld, I think, is really, really special. I think especially right now is a really good time to really seriously consider the allegory that it's making to real life right now, and the way that we interact with ourselves, with each other, and with what we assume is an artificial intelligence. And I think in 2017, it's a great time to start really seriously thinking about our futures as it pertains to our relationships with artificial intelligences. OEMs are making a game almost out of naming their AIs. This is going to be a very different experience in 10 years from now, right? We're going to be talking to AIs like Dolores, like Teddy, like Maeve, and it's not going to be that clear-cut a thing where it's just an assistant on your phone, right? These intelligences are going to have personalities, and the implications just really start to boggle my mind really, really quickly. The sci-fi aspect of the show, I think, is also really, really strong. Aside from the Western side, aside from how it feels, it's got a lot of those really campy Western lines in them. Those campy Western lines take on a whole lot of new meaning and gravitas when you think about the background and what's actually happening outside of Westworld in the actual show Westworld. The performances across the board have been very, very good. James Marsden, I think, is the weakest point in the entire cast. I don't think that James Marsden is a particularly good actor. I think that he was the weakest, whiniest Cyclops I've ever seen. I think every time I see James Marsden in something, I have a really hard time believing just about any word that comes out of his mouth. However, in a show like Westworld, the blocking really matters, and the performance that he delivers when it comes to his actual blocking, if I don't believe anything he says, I believe everything he does. When he picks up a shotgun, like a pump action shotgun, and starts just cranking away on whatever it is that, oh my god, he's got something about the control he has over his physical presence that I think a lot of other performers have a really, really hard time with. Jeffrey Wright, if you've never seen Boardwalk Empire, Jeffrey Wright's performance in Boardwalk Empire is positively chilling, and his performance in Westworld as Bernard, as the sort of the Isaac Asimov character that pushes the boundary between humanity and robotics, I think is just fantastic. But what I love about this role as Bernard is that it has a level of humanity that I haven't seen him in before. Like I said, I'm used to seeing him in Boardwalk Empire, and that character is just positively chilling. And the amount of emotional depth required from the performer to play the role of Bernard, I think, is incredibly strong. And not to mention, guys, the rest of the cast: Ed Harris, Evan Rachel Wood, Anthony Hopkins. But the one that really, really stands out to me, and tends to in most of the roles he's in, is Jimmi Simpson. And this guy, you'll recognize him from all the way back in the day in Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You'll recognize him from House of Cards. And in this role, he plays the sort of ready to find himself cowboy. And I'm only 4 episodes in, so I don't know where it's gonna end up, but I'm thrilled with his character. I'm thrilled to find out where he's going. He's been really underplayed. He's hardly said much. He to me is kind of the embodiment of the experience we're attempting to have in Westworld as the viewer through him. All we get from him so far is the choices that he's made, and that's what we're told is the most important takeaway in Westworld, is the choices that you make as an attendee in the park, and that's all we've really gotten from that character, and he's done a phenomenal job of conveying what he's going through on screen. I can't wait to plow through the rest of Westworld. So to answer your question, hell yes, you should watch Westworld. If you like Battlestar Galactica, if you like hard-hitting dramas that are kind of hard to watch, dystopian future society stuff, AIs, implications with if you've read Ray Kurzweil, if you dream about electric sheep, Westworld's a great show for you. So if you've already seen all of Westworld, please don't dump any spoilers in the comments for anybody who hasn't, especially me. But for episodes 1 through 4, let's have a discussion down below in the comments for episodes 1 through 4. If you haven't seen them just yet, go and watch them. Report back in the comments down below. I would love to get this going as a thing that we're doing more regularly, and it gives us more stuff to talk about on the streams while we're playing video games together, if that makes any sense. So thank you guys also so much for watching. I just want to take a quick second to remind you also there is a Patreon up. I would love for you to go and check it out. It would make a really big difference. At the very least, just consider being a patron. If you watch this stuff, if you watch the streams, I would love for you to go check out the tiers. There's all kinds of great stuff behind the scenes, doing outtakes. Every outtake from every video is going to be seen by someone these days. So Patreon's up. Keep an eye out here on YouTube and on Twitter and on Snapchat for stream times, but in general, it's somewhere around 1 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. But in the meantime, be kind to one another, and I'll catch you in the next video.